Welcome guys to a Arkham Horror video, and today I have the scenario pack, the blob that ate everything. Now scenario packs are standalone adventures that you can play on their own or added to a campaign. This is the latest one from the fantasyflight Hp Lovecraft inspired series. Let's take a look at the cards inside and see how it plays. And okay, like always, we have the instruction manual. It's a fairly simple set to set up, it's not too complicated. It's pretty easy. There's two modes of play in this, single player and epic multiplayer, which requires multiple sets of the scenario pack. So we have the reference card, which is used to determine the chaos tokens, easy standard and hard expert. Now for the act cards, there's 5 in total. There's 2 for single player, a generic second one, and 2 for epic multiplayer. They're generally quite similar, but they're slightly modified. But as a whole, the game acts as sort of 3 phases that repeat. So Act 1 will be spending clues. Act 2 will put in the vulnerable heart, the weakness for the blob. And Act 3 will resolve this section, add a story card, and then repeat itself. So that's those cards there. Next we have the agenda cards. There's 3 of these. The only way you can really lose this is if you are defeated or the agenda cards threshold is expired to get a new resolution. See there. We have now the blob is called Subject 8L08 in this. There's 2 variations: the single player variation, which is up there, and the multiplayer variation. It's a massive ooze elite enemy. It gets 15 health. If defeated, you proceed to resolution 2. We'll explain soon how you defeat the enemy. Next, and this is a really cool thing, this is the story card idea. Now these can be shuffled in, drawn randomly, or picked. At the end of Act 3, before the game sort of resets and you play through again, you get to pick one of the act cards, read a small narrative, and it adds effects, set aside and counter sets, story cards, and other variations. You flip it over, you can get bonuses such as allies, assets, items added to your deck. It's a really cool little idea, I really like that. These are the cards that go with the story cards, such as allies, weapons, items, other assets, and so forth. You can see there, it's pretty cool. The game comes with a massive amount of location cards. Most are just called Quarantine Zone. You can see there's quite a lot of Quarantine Zone locations. It's Temporary HQ, the Crater, what else we got? We've got Fungus Mold and Research Site. So the idea of this game is it's a really simple scenario. There's not much really to the plot. It's just basically a meteorite hits Blackwater. Military come in, you come in to help out. Try basically defeat the monster. It's getting too far, it's getting out of hand, and you've got to stop it. So that's basically the scenario. That's all it is. It's quite fun though to have such a simplified, fun little story. There's 2 main encounter sets. The blob set, which consists of oozing enemies related to the blob itself. You can see there, they have keywords ooze and manifold, of revelation attacks, and they have the blob keyword. Now the blob keyword means that when you defeat the enemy, you get to add damage to the subject 8L08 itself, so these are a way to destroy the enemy. One of the cool cards is the vulnerable heart card. Now in Act 2, this card is spawned, and this is like the weakness of the enemy opening up, and you get to actually attack this, and deal damage dealt to this adds to the SL8 card. So as you can see here, when it is damaged, you add twice the damage from this onto 8L08. So if you do 2 damage to this, you get 4 on 8L08. When you get 15 in total, 8L08, or the blob as it's like to be called, is defeated. And the second set is the Migo set, which is the little sort of insectoid enemies that are added in on the other sets on the story part, such as the General, Abductor, some drones, Meddler, and Harvester. So I have here the location set up as the instructions provide. Now you can see there's a lot of locations here. One thing you notice instantly is there's no actual connecting symbols to locations. But as the agenda card reads, each location is connected to each location adjacent to it. So you can move up, down, left, right. Certain locations makes it a lot easier to move around. You also get to add countermeasures that are added to the reference card These act as military supplies and aid, and certain locations will let you to use them. For instance, in temporary HQ, we can spend a countermeasure to heal damage, heal horror, gain resources, and draw cards. These are pretty cool. We're hurting to say them because some treachery cards do require to spend them to cancel certain negative effects. Each location has different revelations, different clues, different effects. Represent parts of the town of Blackwater. We have the church, we have the slimy streets, and so forth, the bridge. So these are all ooze-ified locations of the town when you try and uncover clues. So the game is quite simple. It's a very simple scenario and quite easy to work through. Act 1 is the easiest one so far. Gain two clues per investigator, and then you advance. But I like the little information here. It says, beware, advancing will expose the anomaly's weak spot, be ready for a fight. So this is a good indication to get your weapons ready, your assets ready to fight, because you're going to have to expose the weak spot of the anomaly. As you can see, that's really cool. This flips. You choose any ooze-ified location and spawn the set-aside vulnerable heart at the chosen location. So we can take the vulnerable heart, we can place it anywhere we like, as long as it's ooze-ified, which most of them are. And it'll spawn there. So we can spawn it right next to where we are and fight it directly on. If we're at a location and we've got weapons ready, we can instantly fight the vulnerable heart and damage the anomaly straight away, which is a pretty cool idea. I like instantly having this weak spot open to attack it straight away. So it's a massive enemy, it has retaliate. So it has no evade and no actual health, because you can't evade it. It doesn't make attack opportunity either. X is damage vulnerable heart, so its strength is equal to the damage you've done to it. So if you do 2 damage to this, you'll add 4 to the blob, and its strength will be 2. So then the more damage you do per round, the harder it will be. So you have 1 full round with each investigator to damage the anomaly as much as you can. As you can see there, it has a force keyword. Any damage placed on vulnerable heart, placed twice such damage on subject 8L08 as well. When you're attacking the vulnerable heart, you can spend a clue and get +2 for the attack, and then the round you advance. So you have 1 brief window to attack the vulnerable heart and damage the anomaly. And the last act gives each ooze enemy retaliate, lose the blob keyword. Now the blob keyword obviously is indicated on here, so if this enemy was defeated in combat, I'd get to do damage equal to the blob value straight to the anomaly itself. And then this is 1 more round. When this round's over, the card flips. You shuffle the set aside Migo drones, which are the small enemies, which we showed earlier, these little insectoid creatures, to add more flavour to the encounter set. You get to place clues in each ooze-ified location, so you get to basically add more clues, so it helps you out a little bit by spreading clues out to help you play through the round faster. And you also get to draw a set aside chosen story card. Now, you can do this randomly, you can choose one, it's up to you. It's fun to choose ones you haven't done before. So when we do this, we get to pick a story card. Let's look at the first one. Resolve, rescue the chemist. It spawns a set aside Migo Doctor at the fungus mound. We also get a set aside Immunity Chemist card, which is this one here. It's a little ally we can get, we can parlay. So when we save the chemist, flip the card over, and each card gives us a reward. If we don't do the reward, if something happens to the investigator, we lose horror, we lose countermeasures. If we save them, we can add the Migo Doctor to the display and deal 3 damage to any ooze enemy in play. So story cards add a little sort of challenge, which is a nice little variation in the format, with rewards and penalties too. Look at some of the enemies. So the enemies aren't too tough, they're all sort of oozy enemies. The ooze wraith is very hard, but that's set aside and only added in certain effects. One of the really cool ideas of this deck, and one of the best things they've done, is the Devour Mechanic. Now, a lot of cards do this, but let's look at one that does it. It's called the Reality Acid Tragedy card. Now, there's a few cards that like this that do a similar effect. It reads, subject 8L08 devours a random aspect of reality. Reveal 2 random chaos tokens from the chaos bag and consult page 1619 of the rules to determine what it is devoured. So what devour means is basically the anomaly is so big and powerful it devours reality itself. And when you draw one of these cards, or another effect how to do this, you draw 2 chaos tokens from the bag, go to the back of the instruction booklet, and resolve the chart here. So For instance, if you get a combination of any of the symbols, there's all combinations here of numbers and chaos token symbols, and does certain effects. Some good, some bad. For instance, if we draw a Elder Sign symbol and one of the 2 chaos tokens there, we have to devour a non-elite enemy nearest to you. The subject 8 LOAs can devour anything. Enemies, tokens, assets, anything at all. But what I really like about this is it does a lot of really fun things. So, for instance, not only has it got funny little game effects like enemies, but you also get to devour, for instance, your cell phone, your voice. Till the end of the round, you can't speak or make noise. One here is pretty funny. The concept of language. Until the end of the investigation phase, you can only speak in gibberish. Light until the end of the round. Investigators will play with all nearby light sources turned off or covered except for flashlights. It can even devour itself, so it deals with damage to itself. It's really fun seeing this with combinations come up in different areas. It can devour your soul, your identity. Should you investigate a text box if they're blank. And one of the more annoying ones, the concept of easiness until the end of the round, so end of the game, should I say, flip the scenario reference card from easy to hard side, which is is a really fun little idea. So that's one of the cool mechanics of the Devour Mechanic. As far as the difficulty goes for scenario, I wouldn't rate it too high. It's quite, I wouldn't say easy, but it's definitely one of the most fun. It's fast, the objectives are easy. I think this is a great scenario for sort of newish players that aren't that into playing the game yet. You can just get a good character, a good aggressive build, and just focus on finding the heart and attacking the heart, destroying the enemy. The combination of numerous location cards, the story cards, there's a large amount of encounter cards in this set. You can see there's quite a lot, plus the Amigo drones and all the story assets and rewards make it extremely replayable. And it's really good for a fun, quick set. Definitely worth the price you're going to pay for this one. It is a fantastic little set to add. You can add it to a campaign. You can make it standalone, just a single play game. It's extremely fun, and I had a blast playing this. If you want to see a playthrough of this blob everything game, let me know in the comments. Any questions about this game, let me know. And that's it for this quick review. I just wanted to let you know what's inside this pack and how it plays and the mechanics. Let me know if you play it yourself, what you think of it. And that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Leave a like and subscribe.